everyone, my name is Simon and today Patrick leaves the game, oh my god! No, actually we have a game. In the bottom right corner of ESL Ohana we have the player raiding from Portugal. An up and coming Zerg player, his name is BLAST.sYz. And in the top left corner his opponent on the opposite side of the map. You have a much well-known player? Much more well-known player? I don't know. Of course playing from Poland. It is MouzCCMana. So let's talk a little bit about both players. Of course we have Mana playing as the Protoss player right here. Mana is well known as one of the best or better Protoss players from Europe. He is actually, I think he recently ended his high school, so he can actually end and play a year of Starcraft 2. I think that's what he said in an interview. BLAST.sYz, however, an up-and-coming Zerg player. You didn't hear much from him until most recently. He's actually one of the better Zerg players right now, winning a lot of online cups. He's actually, I think he's actually has a personal sponsorship right now with some not that well-known company, but he's actually really good and he's improving steadily. So right here we actually see some probe harassment by MouzCCMana. Of course not gonna lose that probe, because well, he's Mana, Mana's not gonna do that. So right now actually we see a 14 gas or a 15 gas by Ziz, a gas first, and I wonder how MouzCCMana is going to respond to this. He is going to see this gas, however. He also sees the spawning pool going up. This might however just be a fake, or he might just actually go for the gas first and actually get the gas going before anything else. So actually he's already queuing up drones right here, so I wonder what he's going to do with this. He's actually going to start mine gas, so that's going to be really interesting. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, however, you see MouzCCMana looking for a Nexus first right here. Actually gonna get it first right now. However, Ziz doing a really peculiar opening already. I'm not sure if I like this actually. A standard opener for Zerg would of course be 14 spawning pool followed up by a 15 hatchery. But right now, Ziz decided to take gas and probably gonna get the Zerging speed up first. However, looks like MouzCCMana is going to be fairly safe. If Ziz however sends out Zerglings across the map right now, they might as well get there before these cannon finishes, because he went for a Nexus first. However, the fort is about to get finished, probably going to throw up a gateway. Yeah, there we go, a gateway, and gonna get a cannon up relatively soon, I imagine. Right now actually, yeah, we see drones being pulled off gas by Ziz. Ziz getting just the Zergling speed, which is really curious actually. I kinda like that, because this will just give him so much map control. However, his expansion will be so much later than MouzCCMana. Some really good micro right there, and actually manages to pick off the probe and also throwing down the hatchery a little bit later than usual. The Nexus is already about to finish however, so this is actually going to be pretty good advantage for Mana to this point in the game. However, we see the Zerglings already running across the map. He's going to scout pretty much everything. Already an overload right here, however. Already seeing everything. And I imagine Ziz is going to take a third base really quickly, because else he will just be so far behind if he doesn't take it really soon. Because if he doesn't take it, it will just be that much harder to actually catch up to the Protoss player, because the Protoss player has his base so much earlier. However, he's scouting everything right now. He knows about the timing of the cyber core. He knows that there's no third and fourth gas taken just yet. So he knows pretty much everything. Right now we actually see a drone moving across the map. Also a creep tumor already out and rallying through the natural right now. So I imagine him taking a third base right about now. Yeah, there the third base goes down actually. So this is going to be really good to see. I wonder if Ziz actually also sees, yeah, he also sees the forge spinning and he sees the upgrade going down on the forge. It's actually going to be a +1 weapon attack for the Protoss player, which is going to be just that much more useful when the actual game comes out. Actually checking if my music was on, and it is. So right now we see a chrono boost on the Stalker however, and the Stalker, he has to actually move this overload away, because he's going to lose it if he just keeps it like this. This is going to be really crucial, because if he doesn't watch out, yeah, there actually Stalker pops out already, and it's going to be able to actually pick off this overlord. And the overlord sure is going to scout. There's no gases up just yet, but man, he should have just moved this a little bit earlier and actually saved it that way. However, the chrono boost of course putting it that much earlier. And we also see a Stargate going down by Blast or by MouzCCMana. I wonder if Ziz is going to be able to scout this. Ziz could actually run up a Ling on the ramp right now and actually check it out, but right as the Overlord died, we see the third and fourth gas going down for MouzCCMana, and MouzCCMana is just going to be able to get a lot of VOIDRAYs and Phoenixes up, especially if he's not going to get any kind of more sentries after this initial sentry. So however, the third base already finished, the queen moving down to the third base right now, and we see a good overload spread by SCYZ, so SCYZ is going to be able to see a lot. However, we need to know if he's going to be up against this kind of play. However, in the other side of the map, actually we see a Baneling Nest going down as well as an Evolution Chamber. Of course, Baneling Nest, that's not standard at all. Actually, right now we see the Zergling running up the ramp right now, and we actually see the Stargate producing a VOIDRAY, so he's going to be able to actually respond to this properly. Yeah, already getting a Spore Crawler right there, and also getting a Spore Crawler in the natural, so that's going to give him just that little bit of an edge. Also getting a lair up relatively early. And on the other side of the map, actually, we see a lot of gateways going down, as well as a Twilight Council. Probably gonna use this to get the Blink upgrade for the Stalkers. However, he could also use this to get a Dark Templar, or a Dark Shrine out, rather. It's going to be really interesting what he's going to be doing with that. However, we already see the third and fourth gas taking by BLAST.sYz. His Baneling Nest is already finished, so I'm really curious what he's going to use this Baneling Nest for. Is he going to use the lair tech to actually get the Baneling speed upgrade really early, or is he just going to get maybe Spire tech, or maybe Hydralisk or whatever? We have to see about that. However, we already see the fifth gas taken as well by SCYZ, and this is going to be relatively early. However, we see the VOIDRAY in the main right now for MouzCCMana. MouzCCMana is going to be able to pick off maybe an Overlord. However, there's two Queens already on its way. A second Phoenix, or a first Phoenix rather, already joining the fight right now, but the Phoenix is not going to be early enough to actually pick up a Queen and let it kill by the VOIDRAY. So right now it's probably just going to use this for scouting. Of course, the Blink tech is already halfway down. We see more and more gateways being added on. Already 7 gateways, and actually upgrading +2 weapon attacks for the Protoss player. So you might as well go for a Blink all in after this, or you might take down those rocks actually and take a third base relatively early. However, we see SCYZ already prepared for this, already pushing a spewing some creep with an Overlord. So really interesting play right there. And actually, we see on the production tab, we see a Spire play already being built by SCYZ. SCYZ is going to use all those extractors to actually pull off a lot of Mutalisk as soon as the Spire finishes. Let's take a look at the production tab, or the income tab right now. It's 65 harvests versus only 47. Of course, 47 is going to be the appropriate amount. However, he is far behind in upgrade right now. It's going to be 1300 income versus almost 2000 income. So that's going to be something that MouzCCMana has to be able to actually catch up to. However, we already see 1200 gas being saved up by SCYZ rather, and SCYZ is going to be able to slam out so many Zerglings, or so many Mutalisk as soon as this pops out. And already we see a lot of Zerglings running across the map, seeing this first Zealot right now, and actually already trying to pick off this Overlord so you can actually take up the third base for the Protoss player. However, we see 13! Oh my god, 13! We see 13 Mutalisk on the projective right now. I also imagine him taking a third base, or a fourth base rather, and maybe even a fifth base relatively soon, because, well, what else is he going to use all his minerals for right now? He might as well use it on getting more bases or some spine crawls or whatever. However, we see a move out on the map right now as soon as the Mutalisk actually moved out. And BLAST.sYz knows about this, I think, because he knows the army is moving on across the map right now by MouzCCMana. However, this is going to be a counter-attack right now. There's no third base up. The rocks aren't even down just yet, so this is going to be really curious. MouzCCMana, of course, killing down those rocks and actually going into the third base right now. And it's no, the third rocks aren't killed right. However, we see a counter-attack right now by SCYZ. SCYZ going to go into the main, into the natural right now, whereas MouzCCMana goes and snipes the third off right away. Probably going to go ahead and takes the natural right away as well. It's going to be really interesting who is going to win this game, because a counter-attack is already very hard to hold by the Zerg player as well, by the Protoss player. It's going to be all coming down to positioning and who gets the first engagement off. However, we see the natural being sniped off by MouzCCMana right now. However, we also see these natural being sniped by SCYZ. SCYZ probably gonna go ahead and take the natural or the main out as well. However, he's trying to do his best and actually take down everything he can. His +1 armor might as well finish. This is going to be pretty huge if he manages to finish this, because this will just give him that little bit of an edge when it's going to actually engage his army. So right now, we actually see the +1 attack, or the +1 armor finish. And right now we actually see the Zerg player being all over the main right now. It's going to be 92 supply for the Zerg player versus 50 or 66 supply by the Protoss player. And it's actually going to be 90 army supply versus 66 only, so that's going to be really interesting. However, we see a Nexus going down by MouzCCMana, as well as a hatchery right there across the map. So they won't be revealed anytime soon. However, it's going to all come down to who manages to pick off the other guy's army. However, we see a lot of the spawning pool is actually still up, so that's going to be pretty huge. However, this is going to be really hard for MouzCCMana, I imagine, to hold. However, there's a lot of sentries that being there for the Guardian Shield and of course the Force Field, as well as Stalkers. So this is going to be pretty hard to actually stop. However, SC2 is already being prepared for any kind of engagement right now. We actually see a Spore Crawler trying to get across the map and actually gonna go through the other side of the map. We also see a natural stealing the natural base for the Protoss player. That's going to be pretty cute. But this is all going to come down to one big fight that's probably going to occur anytime soon right now. The Nexus is about to finish. Of course, I wonder if SC2 knows about it. Yes, SC2 actually knows about this Nexus right now. So this is going to be really interesting how he is going to respond to this. However, all these Zerglings are going to run in right now, as well as all the Mutalisks. So here we go. Force Field's going down. Also a Guardian Shield, which is going to help out that much more. But right now it's going to be so hard for MouzCCMana to actually hold this. However, right now it's going to be pretty even. 40 Zerglings and 20 Mutalisks against 24 Stalkers, which might be enough, however. But I'm not sure actually about that. This is going to be really hard for Mana to hold this, because, well, what is Mana supposed to do right now? Is he going to leave this Nexus right now? He's actually leaving the Nexus, which is going to be able to just pull him back right now. And actually, SC2 is trying to arrest the Nexus just a little tiny bit. However, we see he wants to, of course, snipe this base. We see a little bit of mining going on by SC2, which is going to be just that much of income, which is going to be that much more income that Mana isn't having right now. So we actually see a few drones on the production tab right now, going to take actually a little bit of income right now. Actually managed to pick off a Stalker and almost picking off the Stalker, actually. Almost getting it, also almost getting a Mutalisk kill right there. That's pretty cute. Right now, actually, oh my god, he's actually blinking forward and picking off a few Mutalisks. That's actually pretty huge. However, we see the Zerglings running around. Might as well go for the counterattack right now and kill this Nexus. However, he's not going to do that. However, I wonder why MouzCCMana decides to not get any probes out. He has the money to get some probes out. That's really weird. However, we see a big clump of Stalkers actually trying to get picked off by the Zerg player. However, here we go. We see a big engagement right now. Just going to probably decide this game. It's going to be 63-35 supply for the Zerg and Protoss player responsibly. But here we go. We see all these Stalkers going down. I don't think it's going to be enough by MouzCCMana. MouzCCMana trying to get up a little bit more supply, but he's not going to be able to do it. Yeah, this is going to be so hard. It's going to be 14 Mutalisks left against only 4 Stalkers, and I imagine this is going to be GG. And there we go, GG called by MouzCCMana. So I want to thank you all for watching, and hopefully you enjoyed this game, guys. Have a great day. Bye. Today we're actually playing.